We already said it too. And I was just telling you guys that I'm physically and mentally well. None of my family has fortunately fallen to COVID. And so far, so good. But what has brought us together is the civil unrest. So I'm not feeling too great about that at this point. So.
How's the family dynamic shifted because of this civil unrest?
The family dynamic. Well, again, because of the type of civil unrest it is, unfortunately, we can't be really all that vague about it in answering that kind of a question because depending on how your family makeup is, will depend on how it has changed um, the normalcy of your life. Uh, so, for example, if you are a well to do family, um, it really hasn't changed much of your day to day life. As far as I can tell, a lot of these well to do families have whole basketball courts, farmland, and all kinds of stuff. So it hasn't really, I feel, affected people like that. But for the working class, um, it's definitely, and again, race as an issue has um, really uprooted a lot of things, especially if you live in a town or city that is being looted and burning right now. So again, it's a hard question to
Mm.
ask in a short, precise manner. But I feel on some small level, I guess everybody is affected because they're seeing it. So whether they're really passionate about it or dispassionate about it, it has entered their lives in some sort of way. It's hard to ignore this at this point. So maybe a little bit for everybody, if I were to answer it.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely feel myself like calling my brother extra every day and just to tell him that I love him, you know? And it's like you could view that as something that should be happening just on the regular, you know,
Yeah.
just a checkup. But
But sometimes it takes a large situation to open our eyes to how we treat each other on a day to day basis. And it's hard to kind of see when, like they say, when everything is going good, you bicker about the small things. Oh, well, you brought me a burger with no bacon on it, and now I'm upset. But that same, you know,
yeah,
but that same restaurant person, because they're out there working in COVID, maybe you'll think twice about really giving them a hard time. So it's really a looking glass or a magnifying glass onto on how we are morally when everything is going well, and it really shows what we should have been doing before everything went to hell, and and it makes us appreciate those days and how we should have appreciated it a little bit more.
Mm. What do you what do you think the role of a black business is in all of this?
The role, when you mean role, again, I'm not sure how, because there's a lot of different ways I can answer that. So as far as role as in to their community, as far as what they might do with their money when they make a lot of money, a successful business, I mean, so what do you mean by role?
You know how we look. It's almost like black businesses are held to, not that they're held to a higher standard, but like someone like, let's say, a Jeff Bezos who
Hmm.
has billions of dollars or not, maybe not billions of dollars in cash, but
Mhm.
enough to make a substantial change
Mhm.
versus how like we might piggyback off of a black local business to say, why aren't you supporting versus how we do to like the Fortune 100s.
Well, going back to sociology and psychology, uh, what I think about that is it's easier to reach that small local business. I can walk up to your door and say, hey, I know that my people come in here every day and support you in your face. I can see, I can touch you. You can't, some people can't even imagine even running into the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So they feel dejected. They feel like I mean, we can ask Jeff Bezos to give us a crumb of his billions of dollars. But is he even going to get the email? You know what I'm saying? Or will be a small peasant among all the peasants that are asking him for his money. And so that's why I believe there's more pressure on a small black business to give because it's easier to reach them. And Bezos has market people who are marketing for his name and making him look good, and in order to do that, he does sprinkle a couple of dollars into the mainstream official not-for-profits to basically shut everybody up. Hey, well, he's donating, so why are you asking him to donate more? So I mean, then they can get into the whole. Well, now you're just being greedy. He's giving millions of dollars every year. Now you're asking for more. These people are never happy. So
Yeah,
right. So
it's so interesting because it's like, how do we get there? Because it's like we look at the richest man in history, Mensa Musa, right?
mm,
And any story that I've heard of him, anywhere he went, he was giving away gold. He was like, here, take my chain, take my ring, like
mm-hmm.
everywhere he went. And it's like, how did we shift from that to now, gimme, 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 take this crumb, and everybody's like, at least he's giving something.
So when you're asking that question, are you asking why have black people specifically, or just people in general, or?
Hmm.
Because
Both
if
answers?
we're if we're like just talking about black people, how did we go from being Mansa Musa types and being able to not only help people but help them so much that once we left a vacuous hole in their economic system. That can be summed up in various different ways that can stem from too high of a moral ground. I heard somebody argue that the African kings refused to fight, quote unquote, the white man's game or whatever, and that allowed them to be taken over and pillaged for all their gold and etc. Then you also have the argument I heard where when you brought the Africans over here, the brainwashing to strip them, because I myself and I love African history. I didn't even know about Mansa Musa until about a year and a half ago, and that goes for a lot of our strong idealism and culture, and throughout the brainwashing and the emotional and spiritual trauma, um, we kind of got separated from that kingly royal understanding and status. And we kind of created our own kind of a culture that even in the 90s, as I was growing up, it was bad to be deemed an African. You were an African booty scratcher and all these other
Mhm.
derogatory terms. Like you didn't even want to watch Roots. They made it so that you would feel so bad about watching Roots that you didn't even want to let your kids watch it. Yet, on the other hand, the Jewish community, it they watch uh, Holocaust movies as much as they can. They tell their children, if you don't watch this, you're not even a real Jewish person. And
Mhm.
and
Wow.
so the way that they utilize the trauma is different. Whereas in my understanding of African culture, it was shunned. You didn't want to be called African or Nigerian or anything like that. Whereas in the Jewish community, for lack of a better uh, idea, went the complete opposite. And if you look at the Jewish community, after the Holocaust, their whole community said, not never again. This was never going to happen to us again.
Mhm.
And if you talk to people in the Jewish community, as I have, um, they'll tell you, and you can see that they have very specific things that they do for their families and their communities. Um, I know this is quite long-winded. You can stop me
Oh, no.
whenever you want. But from what I've been seeing is the children are told you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something that you can bring upon more power into the family. You
Oh,
see
wow.
what I'm saying,
Mhm.
right? And they learn these things from young. That's why they have their own communities where it's just nothing but their own people. They have their own school. Okay. You can't come, nobody, not the government, nobody can go into a Jewish community. Even now during COVID, they was doing funerals, thousands of, not a one arrest. They can't touch them because most of the people who are lawyers are Jewish, of Jewish descent, like a good number of them. They're all over the place. Um, but if you look even back after the Holocaust, the Jewish community still had riches. They had gold. In the movie Schindler's List, you see them swallowing diamonds and things like that. In Africa, they got ripped of all of those riches. So even when a slave would come, they would not be able to shite a diamond like the Jewish community was able to do after Germany's taken down, blah blah blah, whatever. Well, we have this stash of diamonds and gold or whatever else that we hid, so we can actually start off from a decent livelihood, whereas Africans were not able to do that. And again, their culture, their unitedness, they didn't speak. There's like 1,000 something languages in Africa. They couldn't talk to each other. They separated families. So everybody has all this animosity. We can't, as far as I can tell, we weren't able to get that sense of royalty back, which is why um, which is how we got from the Mansa Musas of the era and the Moors of the era, unfortunately, to where we are now, begging for scraps and welfare or whatever else people want to make derogatory and talk about.
Wow. Think about that now. Is there even? I mean, there has to be. Mm, Try to.
Is there what?
I was just about to say, is there like? I'll share the screen and I'll look for some like media about like does Mansa Musa have like a movie, a documentary? Like how do I, because I've heard about the Moors a lot and I'm very
Hmm.
uneducated about them, but
Hmm. Now, when you look up Mansa Musa, as far as I have been able to see, it's not even us telling the story. I think I've seen one. You see how the very first one up there is the documentary, but it's by BBC,
Mm-hmm.
United Kingdom. That's not even us telling our own story.
Mm,
That's also part of the problem. We need our own storytellers of our own story, where where we can at least trust them a little bit more, because our story is always being twisted and told by the conquerors. If the conquerors are always the one telling the story, they can tell it however they want. You see.
mhm. The victors, the victors write history, right?
Exactly. Exactly. That another thing that got me upset recently was the story of Shaka Zulu. I was gonna watch the movie, but then when I saw how it opened, the movie opened up on Shaka Zulu already surrendering to his his enemies. I
Oh,
was like, how you gonna start the movie off like that? That's disrespect. I said, never mind. I'm not gonna watch this. I look up who the writers are and all that stuff. But yeah. But what I want to know is what's these three things? These three this plan, this 3-tier plan.
the three plan. Let's go. Well, the three plan. Number one is the news network, which is always it's always been in the back of my mind because that's the reason why I made Real Talk, which is just the interview uh kind of like show in a sense, because it's always, even if you go to like Poughkeepsie Journal or like Hudson Valley Magazine maybe, but it's like what media, like how does somebody from Rhinebeck learn about Poughkeepsie?
Mhm.
It's like the journal. And what does the journal post about? Low graduation rates, uh anytime somebody gets arrested or anytime somebody dies. And it's like,
So it's all negative promotion.
and it's yeah, and it's like if you're gonna post that, you should post the good stories. And I know, like, good stories don't sell, but it's like you post good stories about other things all the time, like uh
Well, see, that's unfortunately where I would disagree, because I'm I was into marketing and all that kind of thing before I had my daughter, and anything good a good story or a bad story, whatever it is, anything can be marketed. Anything. Okay, and they like to push that narrative that wholesome, good stories that are going on in the community won't sell. It's not hot. It's not sexy, or whatever it is. Uh, but that's not true, unfortunately, and that's why, unfortunately, we see more and more rampant up violence culture, shock culture, blah blah blah, because uh, they want to push that narrative. For what reason, I don't know, but it has been proven that basically anything can be marketable. You can market anything.
yeah, that's interesting. And that's exactly like, yeah, it's just like I start to just feel like it's necessary because I was saying the same thing. It's like, yo, I'm tired of seeing all this. Like I do want to see the good things.
Right.
Like there's not sure you know about Bill Duke.
I'm new to town. Unless he's no, I don't know that name off the top of my head. No.
Well, actually, let's just do the whole interview like this. So Bill Duke is he's an actor. He's most known for this one line in
Oh yeah, I know that. You done messed up. You done messed up, man.
what?
No, no, no. That's the line that I know from this
Oh,
guy.
yeah. Well, he's born and raised in Poughkeepsie.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And it's like, right there, Poughkeepsie. And it's like,
Wow.
uh, why isn't he celebrated? And I just found about him like I think 2 or 3 months ago.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then we go to that's just one. Let's go to Jesus R. And then Jesus R he is a branding mogul. If you've seen any of Diddy's Ciroc commercials, that was him.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Poughkeepsie again?
Yep. He let's hold on. Bio, here we go. Honored by 2 US presidents. Uh
Jesus.
worked with P. Diddy, Russell Simmons, Mona Scott Young. I think Mona Scott Young is the creator of
Wait,
Love and Hip Hop.
wait a wait a second. The important thing that I just saw was President's Council on Financial Literacy.
Oh yeah. hmm Is honored by I'm guessing Bush and Obama. Uh
Wow.
yeah. And basically worked with every company known to like
And the fact that the Poughkeepsie youth don't know about him.
no, it's like look, Ciroc, Toyota, Time Warner, CNN, CBS, NBC, MTV,
Bold. New
AT&T.
York NYSE. Oh
Yeah,
my God, the
yeah,
stock exchange.
yeah. He's done some media work with everybody, and it's like, okay, why isn't he celebrated? Like,
All right, well, let me ask you a question. From your first call to action, it looks like it got very good interaction. Do you see your three plan going anywhere, or do you think everybody's just hyped up and and it'll all die down?
I think the it's a good start. I mean, people signed up for the interviews, so that's as long as there's one person that's like willing to like move forward, I think that's enough.
Well, what do you think the first step should be to make this thing happen? I mean, this is a three-step plan, three different things. The news, the education. Well, education and news could probably be put together because
Mhm. Yeah,
um,
it's like
financial literacy. Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like the news is kind of just attention, and I feel like that's the one that's the most demanding and the one that I'm most geared toward. So I have media background. That's what went to school for. Like so, I could I guess teach a lesson, but I am in no way like an
An
educator.
educator.
Yeah. So it's like that's why number one is like the news because what I can do is scream and record stuff on my camera and then make a sequence that somebody could watch and then
Hmm.
somebody's like, oh, this is cool. Show it, share. It gets bigger, it grows. Then, also, now I meet people like you who are educating me and now I can share that. And even this conversation right here, this would be considered like a news portion sort of
Hmm.
thing. Because Funny enough, news is classified as entertainment in the eyes of the Supreme Court.
Interesting. Now, I didn't know that one.
Yep. There was a case in 2001 where a, it was a reporter in
Oh no.
Florida, and his boss wanted him to report on this. I think it was like it was a milk company that was doing like just unsanitary stuff. So the
Yeah.
reporter was going to report on it, but that milk company like was buying ads in the paper. So they're
Mhm.
like, no, don't do that.
No, shoot.
Pick another story.
Oh.
And then he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. This needs to be told. And then he sued. And then the court said, no, it is entertainment, so it can be scripted however you
Oh
please.
my God, that's really not good. That's not good.
And then that's when like the start of fake news just like went
Just
exploded.
it's all I believe. So I did a little stint as a journalist for a while, and it was supposed to be just the facts. For example, um, you know, there's a guy, blah blah blah. We the way I learned it, we weren't supposed to put like racial things that'll make people binary, to look choose sides or whatever. We were supposed to just put the facts. The guy was 48 years old. He got shot in the chest 3 times. The cop did this to him. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't supposed to be the black cop, and I see a lot of, this evil person and blah 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 blah. We weren't supposed to use emotional terms like that, and I started seeing an uptick in that. But what I also started seeing was very one-sided news telling. Like if you were to have a 30-minute interview with somebody, let's say a presidential candidate, um, each side can pick their own soundbite and just tell some scripted whatever after it, that looks good for whoever they're trying to make look good. And that's the problem with not holding journalism and news to a higher standard, because it's not supposed to be done like that. It's supposed to be the facts. It's supposed to let all the facts be heard, and that's supposed to be the job. So now we have the main media being basically actors, and if you look up on YouTube, the news just gets a script, and they have the video where it just goes down the line. All the different anchors are saying literally the exact same script, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And now that you told me about that Supreme Court thing, ah,
Mhm. Yeah, I'm trying to find the case, so it's not just my word, but I have my teacher on Facebook, so I'll ask her what the case is.
oh my gosh, man, oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh.
exactly. That's exactly why you see like all these like front page ads that are super clickbait. Like that's really what they are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's not even fair because they know exactly. They have all the data from us using our phones and tablets. They know exactly what words to put in that sentence to make us emotionally want to press that link. It's a whole real thing. And when I learned about that in marketing, there's this guy called Edward. Oh, you need to look up Edward Bonays. That's the father of modern marketing. Edward Barnay, B as in boy. Barnay, there you go, missed a second right there. Yeah. Pioneer of the field of public relations. Now, this guy is the reason why women were able to smoke cigarettes because he was a marketing guy, public relations guy. And the cigarette company came to him and said, "We want to make more money, so we need women to be able to smoke cigarettes." And at the time, it was, not ladylike to smoke cigarettes.
Oh,
Um, so Mr. Edward made it cool. And he's also the reason why bacon, I believe it's bacon, is looked at as a healthy breakfast meal. I
oh,
think he created, yeah, I think he created breakfast or something like that. I don't know, but the
yeah,
homeboy was wild.
yeah,
So you should
yeah.
look into this guy. Yeah, that is the boy right there. That he's the one. So McDonald's, the colors in McDonald's, red, yellow, and I forgot what the other color is, red and yellow.
Yeah.
Basically, they know that those colors put together make you want to get hungry. There's a thing called color. I forgot what it's called, but public relations, and it's basically, if you want to use a buzzword, like mind control, kind of. They make
Mhm.
you want to do stuff. And this little dude right here was the pioneer of the modern day uh,
Yeah. Named one of the
public.
100 most influential Americans. Damn.
Yeah, he was a bad boy. He did a lot of stuff. He did a lot of stuff.
I didn't even know they had a list like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely keep track. But see, the problem is with black folks, we we I don't know what it is. Like you said, we have a couple of people from Poughkeepsie, probably a lot, that we
I
don't
mean,
even
that's just the
celebrate
ones I know
like
about.
that. Yeah.
That's just the ones I know about. It's just crazy.
How many interviews have you had so far?
I think about eight. Eight is safe
Mhm.
to say. Anywhere from like 5 to 10.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to be getting out of here soon. Um, but I wanted to see what do you think the next step should be here to develop these three, because those 3 points are very, very good, and this is the time to strike while the iron is hot here and
Mhm.
try to develop something. So is that your goal, or are
Uh,
you trying to get a team together or do something?
yeah, no, I mean, def definitely is to just keep the stories coming and to just, say like your opinion really, because there's so many, like just in my group alone, like my friend slash associate circle, like alone, it's like I have gay black friends, I have, you know uh like black educator friends, and I have like black Republican friends, and like then we have like black Democrat friends, and then just like the whole spectrum. And like somebody, like, interestingly enough, like my grandfather, for example, who was super pro Obama, like
Hmm.
super pro Obama, but he's old school Jamaican, so his homophobia level is like off the charts. So it's like just getting everybody to say their opinion so we could all come to a consensus as like black people, you know?
Well, good luck, darling. I'm gonna just keep me posted. And let's start trying to do something. We'll see what comes of it. We just started, and that's pretty good of a number to have had that many interviews. When did you post this?
Uh,
10 hours ago. So that's one person an hour. That's still
oh, no, no,
good.
no, no, no. It's not, you're the first interview for this, but like
Oh, okay.
the show, like Real Talk, what it's about,
Okay.
Highlight Neighborhood Heroes. that has
Mm,
had like 8 interviews, but that was put on the back burner because like,
okay.
Corona wasn't happening. I didn't have like all this access to people.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mm.
So, well, like I said, good luck, and I'm very excited to see where this will take the conversation, hopefully into something positive.
Oh yeah, nah. I mean, I'm gonna try. Nah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do.
That's right. There we go. There we go. All right. Have a good night. Stay safe.
You too.